Hello YouTube, my name is Tyler and this is my first week of June check-in. I did not vlog again this week. These are just easier to film and edit at this point where I'm just feeling a little, I almost said under the weather. I'm not sick, I'm just like feeling a little run down, and my reading has been kind of slow and not super great, so it's just easier to record it this way. So I read 3 books this week. It is June 8th. I read Elantris by Brandon Sanderson. I gave it 5 stars. I could not believe how much I enjoyed this. I listened to it as an audiobook because I was very daunted by just everything about it. I believe Covers with Cassidy mentioned this and it sounded interesting. She kind of just called it a political fantasy, which seemed intriguing to me because I felt like that was kind of what I was enjoying in the Poppy War. There was some like who's gonna get the throne politics, which I didn't think I necessarily liked when I read House of Hunger by Alexis Henderson, but I really enjoyed the politics stuff going on in Elantris. I do not think I would have been able to finish it if I had read it physically. There was just a lot of like fantasy names, and when I looked briefly at the summary of it, my eyes immediately glazed over. So I think this was really the only way that I was going to consume it. And you know, it ended up being perfect. The narrator was great. I really liked all 3 POVs for the most part. Rayadan was kind of like the weakest POV for me, but near the end it really came together and I was enjoying what was going on in Elantris, and I was enjoying the politics of Serene, and I liked the priest Hrathen's stuff, him trying to convert people and dealing with like a crisis of faith and stuff. Overall, it was just such a good time, had a blast. I read Lie With Me by Philippe Besson and translated by Molly Ringwald. This is a gay novel. I hesitate to call it a romance novel because it's not really a romance novel. It's very short. It's more of a novella anyways. The vast majority of it takes place in the 80s as these 2 teen boys are like getting to know each other and forming a relationship. And then, I don't know, like the back third takes place in the 2000s after they have lost touch with each other, and the main character learning about what has happened to this previous lover, where his life has gone. And like, it was very short, but it took me forever to read, and like there wasn't anything bad about it, but like I just did not connect with their relationship to make it enjoyable. I feel like you needed to be invested in the type of relationship they had, and I just don't feel like I ever really got there. I don't feel like I ever got the emotional depth I was hoping for while reading this. So yeah, it is a translated work, so it's very possible that like there was a lot of like poetic language in the original French, I would assume, since it takes place in France, that like just could not be translated into English. Like there's just like that disconnect that comes through translation. So yeah, 3 stars. And then the last thing I read was The Fifth Gideon Falls. This is the weakest one I've read so far. 3.5, so it got rounded up to 4, but there's just like a lot of timelines going on at this moment, and like I just didn't fully love it. The horror aspect of the man who smiles, like the creepy villain guy, while he is very creepy, like the horror aspects have kind of faded. Like they don't really seem to be horror anymore. It seems to be more like action adventure, like he's the bad guy. And so we got to defeat the bad guy, unless like he's the bad guy and he's terrifying and he's horrifying and he's scary. So I'm missing that, but I have one last volume, 5 or 6 issues, I think. So I think there's still room for it to like really pack a punch and like end up being like a new all-time favorite. So I hold out hope for the last volume, which I should finish in week 2. So yeah, that is what I read this week. I am carrying over a few things this week. I am still reading the quilt making book because I'm just reading like a chapter at a time when I walk, and sometimes I'm doing other stuff when I walk, so it's going slowly. I should finish Lapvona by Otessa Moshfegh, so you'll see it in the next vlog or check-in. I have like 50 pages left. Unfortunately, it's the weakest Otessa Moshfegh book I have read so far, but I will talk about that more in the next video. And then the other thing I am reading, Small Fry by Lisa Brennan Jobs. Someone I follow on Goodreads read this recently, liked it, and I was in the mood for a memoir. Went into it without really knowing much. She is Steve Jobs' daughter, and I listened to the first 5th of it yesterday, and I haven't listened to it again. But I was enjoying it. I was surprised by how quickly I got sucked in. I couldn't believe I had listened to 20% of it when I had stopped for the afternoon. So yeah, that's what I am currently reading right now. That is what I read last week. I will see y'all next week.